Sometimes it feels as if life is just out to get you and you can't catch a break. When it rains, it pours, and your stress level is high and your emotions are raw, and the idea of coping is just unrealistic. So when life gets like that, what does it look like to cope? So the idea of coping with life stressors might mean that we have to take a break and stop even when things feel like they're falling all to pieces around us, and take that time out for ourselves. But this is hard for a lot of us. It's hard to relinquish that control and take what feels like a really selfish break. I mean, there could be a million reasons why we don't want to take breaks for ourselves, in a phrase that's called self-care. But basically, there's a lot of research that shows that stress not only increases the rates of mental illness, but also physical illness. So basically, stress makes you sick. And no matter who you are, life is stressful, but stress does not have to run your life. Here's some cool research. So a study found that out of a group of people, the people that had learned how to have coping skills and deal with life stressors better had better long-term mental health. So what this means is that their life was not any easier. In fact, they had just as many problems as all the rest of the participants in the study. But because they had learned the art of coping skills, they had better mental health in the long run because they had learned to deal with things without everything falling apart around them. Because better mental health leads to better physical health, and both are paramount in importance to making really good decisions, especially under stress. So, how do you cope? Well, that depends a lot on you, because it's going to look completely different for you as it does for me, as it does for everybody else. Because what happens is when life gets stressful, we go into survival mode. So this huge bubble erects itself in self-preservation, and we can only focus on the essentials because stress is high. So housing and food and paying the bills and keeping the kids alive and all of these other things that are absolutely essential, that's what we focus on. And the other stuff that tends to keep us going in a happiness state, they just get pushed to the wayside. But when your stress levels get high, your coping skills come in to decrease that stress. So they're essential to balancing out things when you get into survival mode. So the more stressful life gets, the more we should be employing what we therapists call coping skills. And a coping skill can be anything. So let's say you're a runner, and a quick 3-mile jog is what declutters your brain and helps you recenter after a really long day. Maybe you're like me, and running, just the thought of it, gives you anxiety. So then don't run, right? But I really enjoy walking my dogs, so that would be considered something that decreases my stress, gets my blood flowing, my heart pumping, my brain can kind of take a break. I don't have to think about a lot while I'm walking the dogs. So that's something that works for me. But maybe running works for you. Or maybe you're an introvert and you really love reading and getting lost in a book. But when life gets stressful, the book's the first thing to go. Instead, using it as a coping skill, even when life gets stressful, you make it a priority because it's essential to counteract the stress that keeps getting higher. So the more stress, the more coping skills. They have to go together. So again, coping skills can be anything that decreases stress in your life. That can be sleeping, any kind of hobbies, prayer, church, meditation, relaxation, family and friends. That community support is essential. The people that have the best community support tend to have the best rates of mental health. I want you to identify the top 5 coping skills that you can have in your life. What are the top 5 things that bring you joy, that decrease your stress and give you a sense of peace? What helps you unwind after a long day? Maybe it's Netflix, maybe it's reading a book, maybe it's hanging out with your family, hanging out with your dogs, whatever it is. What are your top 5 coping skills, and how can you write those down and start practicing them on a regular basis so that they are ready to go when you need them? Your body and your mind will thank you, and you'll be better equipped to handle stuff. One caveat here, we're talking about positive coping skills. I'll talk about negative coping skills in another video, but basically the negatives are pretty obvious. Drugs, excessive alcohol use, any kind of substance. Those are not considered positive coping skills. So I want to make sure that you hear me loud and clear. We're talking about positive coping skills that have benefits for your mental and physical well-being, okay? Talk about negative ones at a different time. I would love to hear what your top 5 coping skills are, because I'm always looking for new ones. And everybody else would be encouraged to hear what you do to keep your stress levels manageable. So share them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. If this video was helpful, please share it and let me know what you think. We'll see you next time on This Full Life with Kelly, where we're going to inspire more wellness in your mind, body, and soul.